Hi everybody, welcome to Lindsay Lou's YouTube channel. I am going to be doing part one today, building out some shelving. We just went through Hurricane Sally and lost our shed, which contained a lot of lawn equipment, tools, and other outdoor items that we need to rehome. So we're converting our garage into a space that can contain all of those items and a vehicle. So today I am going to be building some shelving against our wall here. We have to account for the bicycles, which we use often, and want to make sure that we also have room for all of these storage bin items here. So I'm going to get to work and we're going to remove all of the items and then start building our shelves. We made quick work of getting the wall cleaned off and got the floor nice and clean as well using our Craftsman air compressor. I'm a big fan of using the right tool for the right job, and I tried using the shop vac earlier this morning, and there's just too many big pieces. So for this job, cleaning off the floor and getting all of the leaves and things out of the garage from the hurricane, the best tool for that was the air compressor. Thanks to my little brother for that gift. So next step for our project today is we need to find all of the studs on this wall here and mark them at the heights that we want our shelves. We're going to be using 2x4s, mounting those directly to the wall with these 3-inch Deck Plus screws, self-tapping, and then we're going to be putting our shelves on using this OSB board here, tacking that down, and that'll make for really secure shelves to hold all of our Tupperware and give us a place to park our bikes. Let's get started.
Had to take a coffee break with my little guys.
Okay, we are ready to put up our first 2x4 that will be the back of our shelf. And I did mark the studs using the stud finder, and I got it nice and level and put a line there to mark the top of the board. But I'm gonna take an extra step here and just use this little tiny bit. This is something that my husband and I typically do when ensuring that we found the stud. This shelf might end up holding quite a bit of weight, so we want to make sure that we're going to hit the stud before we start using our screws. So let's get that done, and then I'll mount the shelf. All right, we definitely have the studs marked correctly here, and then I just created a little cheater board. Since I'm doing this project by myself, I wanted to have something for my board to rest on. It is an 8-foot board, and we're going to be putting quite a few screws in here, so to hold the board and the level all safe and still while I put the screws in, I just created this little scrap piece of 2x4. We're going to put that right in the middle, probably start near the center line here with our first set of screws, and then make sure it's nice and level before we put in the next ones. All right, we're moving right along. We have the first shelf mounted. It's nice and level. And for my next shelf, to measure the height that I need there, I'm actually going to be using one of my kids' toys. I'd like for these little scooters to be stored up on this next shelf. So I know that my board is going to be almost an inch, so I'm going to give a little bit of room for that. And it just so happens that my cheater board that I used a while ago is about the right height. So I'm just going to use that one as well for this, and then I should have plenty of room at the top. I'm going to remeasure this section at the top up here to make sure that all of my storage bins can also go on the top shelf. So get that measured, get that next shelf mounted, and then we'll be moving on to step 2. attach the walls. And then I used just a couple screws to tack another 2x4 on top of those. And now we're going to mark the legs for the front of the shelf. I'm going to mark those from the back. We're going to cut both of those, and then we're going to attach the legs, and then we're going to bring it out to put our braces in that are going to run vertically or perpendicularly between the back shelf and the front of the shelf.
All 4 of our perpendicular boards are cut at 13 inches.
Okay, so the next step was to cut our cross beams, which I have here. I went ahead and installed one of them just to see how it's going to work and see if I needed to make any adjustments. And so we have 3 left here, and the next thing we actually need to do is use our Kreg jig that is going to allow us to drill a hole and sideways so that we can actually mount this up under each one of the shelves. So I like to use the vise for this. Just clamp it down. This board is nice and square on all sides, so I will be able to just drill it directly into the end of this one. A couple of my other 2x4s have an area that needs to be avoided, so we'll actually flip it over and do it on the other side. So I like to clamp it down, board in the vise, clamp on the jig, and then just use your regular, I love my DeWalt, use your regular drill here, and you also have the ability to set your depth. That was one of the things we needed to check out. So we're ready to go. I'm going to drill these 3 off real quick, and then we're gonna mount these, and our shelves are almost done. We've got a perfect angle here. We're going to be able to drill our next screw up underneath the bottom of the shelf directly into this, and then the front of the shelf I'm going to screw into the front board. Okay, we're almost done, and I'm here under the last shelf, about to put the last brace in, and I just wanted to give you a couple tips here or tell you what I'm doing. So it's kind of hard to see, I'm underneath it. So I've got my screw held here. This is a 1 3/4. You don't want to do too long because you only have 2 inches to work with in the back, and yeah, you don't want to go through your board there. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill this in, and then we're going to talk about this little gap in the front here. Okay, so I used a clamp here on the front to just hold my board in place, but you'll see that there's a little gap, and the reason is I've got to push the whole shelf back to get that nice and tight. So let me turn us around and do that real quick, and then we're almost done. We just have to tack our shelves, our OSB boards down on top of our shelves. Okay guys, we are almost done with this project. All we have left now to do is to use the brad nailer and get these shelves attached. I've got 2-inch brad nails in my gun right now, and I was planning on using those, but I just found 1 1/4 inch, and I actually think those are plenty long, and I would like to err on the side of use more nails and not take the chance of one of them kind of kicking out on me and then having to cut it off. So we are going to get this brad nailer loaded up with the 1 1/4 inch and attach our shelf, and then we're all done.
My hardware store cut these OSB boards to 16 inches for me.
All right, our project is finished. I wanted to turn you around and show you the end result, and I also wanted to let you know that this build took about 3 hours. I took my first video around 9 a.m. this morning, and it's right at noon, and I'm completely done. I've done most of the cleanup, and I also have everything on our custom shelves. So I'm really excited about this. We're an active family. We like to camp and hike and bike and do scooters with our kids, so this is going to be a lot more functional for our family and especially for my kiddos. So one of the cool things I like about this is that our kids can actually access their bicycles and their own helmets. Those have been up on a pegboard a little bit higher in the air and they couldn't reach them. We also have a place for the scooters. They take up quite a bit of space on the ground and they don't get used quite as much, so I thought that'd be great. Another custom thing that we have for our situation is my husband's bike doesn't have a kickstand. So I just installed one long screw here in the back of this board with a bungee cord to secure that bike. So whenever I take mine out to go for a ride, his isn't going to fall over. And then we've got everything else here. All of our camping gear, the seats for each of the kids actually are taken off of our bicycles at this point. And if they do want to ride, it's a quick fix to install those. So thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to showing you all some more of our garage packs.
Our new clear storage arrived last night, making this project even more organized and easily accessible.